Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Wallaby Racing League Tier 2. This is your commentary tonight, hosted by myself, Duck Puncher. And tonight we are going 35 laps around here, Montreal in Canada. It's going to be quite an interesting race. We saw Tier 4 put on an absolute epic race in the rain, dry quali, and then it was flipped for Tier 3, who had a wet quali and a dry race. And Tier 3, oh boy, did they copped it a little bit. Oh, have we not got game sound here? Hang on a second. No, we do. Yeah. So Tier 3 copped it a bit. Out of 19 drivers, only 2 were left with no penalties. The rest of the drivers, so 17 drivers, had penalties at the end of the race. So that was quite hectic to watch there. So positions were changing left and right. No one knew exactly where anyone was finishing unless they had their almanac out and knew the results already. But you know, it's going to be quite a fun race. I think it's going to be one to watch. I think. I know Kahoot thinks he's a bit arse around here, so that'll be interesting to watch him. Yuki Bear's always an interesting one to watch. Gets a bit eager. Who else we got here? Meso in the Mercedes this week, giving it a crack, as well as Salt back in the McLaren. And yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I think Kirsch could take it out tonight. So him going Tier 1, not Tier 1, him going P1 is, I think, is going to be the call for the night. Now, just bear with me while I just do a few thingamajigs. Zoltan, ready out. What? Yuki needs an invite. Yep, no worries. Give me 2 seconds, mate. I'll get you that invite now. Oops. There you go, mate. Set the invite. Oh, 2 cars off track getting out of the way here. All right, so I'll jump back on board. We are on board with Mason at the moment. Not too sure why, but let's bring all my toolies up. Go details. We'll see the tyres. We'll bring all the mini-maps and everything up. So here we are at Canada. As I mentioned previously, the track that is famously known for the Wall of Champions, which I dare say we will see somebody clout tonight. It's going to be hard, especially if there is rain in the race. I'm not too sure if there is or if there isn't. If somebody in chat could please give me a heads up if there is rain, that would be fantastic. But yeah, Canada located in Montreal on the Notre Dame Island in Quebec. So you know it's very French-speaking place at the moment. So at the moment I should say, or has always been. But we are going to stay on board with Mason as he now looks to start his lap very shortly as he comes through the Wall of Champions here makes it through very cleanly and starts his lap now. Crosses that line. Wing is wide open, closes shut to go through turn 1, through turn 2. Teammate gets out of the way very nicely there. I think that was his teammate. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. As we now head down this little... Oh, clouts that wall, loses a little bit of his wing there, losing a front end plate on the right-hand side there. So that is going to be his run out, as he's probably going to look to abandon that run. Kahoot currently on a run at the moment, as Kahoot currently sitting in P9 with no laps done on the fresh soft tyres. It looks like he could be... Yeah, opens up that rear wing. Heading down this final back straight here, the longest straight. It feels like the longest straight, it's not. And goes through the Wall of Champions here. Makes it through very cleanly, nicely done too. Keeps the pace, crosses the line, and where does that put him? Jonely goes up, stays P9 with a 110.495. The leader on the person on the leaderboard at the moment to beat is Oscar Piastri with a 109.176. Followed by Kirsch with a 109.282. Doing currently 2 laps on this lap. Looks like he's gone for another lap, though, if he's got the fuel. Oh. Okay, I've been booted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we might be back on board. Thank you to Unique and Magic Shot for sending me invites to restart the game. It was really weird. I've never had that happen before. But let's have a look at the results as they stand at the moment with 1 minute and 57 seconds left in quali. It is Kirsch in P1 with a stonking 108.473. Oscar Piastri with P2 in the RB. Not too far behind, still 5/10 in it. Yuki Bear sits in P3. In P4 it is JTM. P5 in the Red Bull it is Dale Beveridge. Also, guys, Dale Beverage's missus has just started streaming, so jump on over to her stream and give her a follow. I'm sure she'd appreciate it. Scuba U P6 in the Aston Martin. That'll make Henchman very happy as the new TP for Aston Martin there. Orphanor from the Alpine in P7 in the McLaren. It is Salt for My Chips stepping in to reserve for those 2 lads there tonight. Meso in P9. The newest driver to the Mercedes lineup there, by the way. Shifty Wizard in P10. Thanks again, Shifty Wizard, for hosting tonight's race. Mason in P11. It's Dito in P12, partnering Shifty Wizard, trying to back him up as best as he can. Magic Shot in P13. WRL Top in P14. Kahoot in 15. Unique in 16. Also stepping in for the second McLaren driver. In Mushy Peas in the Aston Martin in P17, while TMT Legend stepping in, also driving for the kick tonight in P18. We are missing 2 drivers. It is both Williams drivers, and we couldn't get the reserves in. So that is very, very, very unfortunate for him. So Oscar is now coming into the pit lane, decides to abort his lap. Yuki Bear on a lap at the moment by the looks of it. Let's bring up all of my... because I don't know if he is or not. So he is on a lap, just finalising this lap now. As he crosses the line, goes P2. Can anybody knock Kirsch off the board? It doesn't look like it, as he is on a lap currently, as he now rounds that final hairpin turn on the long straight down to the Wall of Champions. This is going to be interesting because I don't think anyone's going to be able to come close to him tonight. I really don't. He's got to get a good start. It looks like he's got a great final time for the... Yeah, there it is, a 108.437. Goes faster than his previous. But it doesn't look like anybody else is going to compare. Maybe it's JTM. Could be. As he now finalises, heads down the back straight to round out what is 4.361 kilometres here at the Jacques Villeneuve circuit. 70 laps IRL, 35 laps here in Wallaby as we do a 50% race. Lap record currently held a 1:13.078 by Valtteri Bottas in real life. But what we're going to do is we are going to jump on Frozen X. Thank you so much for following, my friend. We are going to quickly jump over and we're going to have a quick look at, there's the final results there. So Kirsch in P1, Yuki Bear P2, Oscar P3, Salt goes 4th, JTM gets knocked down to 5, Masso in 6, Scoob 7, Dale Bevs 8, 9 is Ulfenhoof, 10. Rounding out the top 10 is It's Dito. In the bottom 10, we've got Shifty Wizard, WRL Top, Mason Racing, Magic Shot for the Visa Cash App. In the kick, it is TMT Legend, Kahoot in P16. He does say he hates this track. Unique Throne in P17, followed by Mushy Peas, rounding out that Aston Martin in P18. So this is the standings as we see them on screen there. Kirsch currently sitting in P1 with 330 points, followed by Dale Bevs and Carl Finitza. Carl Finitza is away tonight, so not here. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is raining. It is going to be a wet race for the lads in Tier 2. Can they keep it on track? We know that Canada can really throw up some surprises. It's a very slippery track if you don't have your setup right. But I think we're going to be in for a bit of a surprise here tonight, man. I really do. Wow, Rain, good evening. Wallaby, let's go, guys. Thank you very much, Rush. So here we go. 3 lights, 5 lights. The feet are down. Looks like everyone is getting away quite nicely. I'm going to quickly bring up all of my things here. Position changes. Kirsch stays in P1. The top 4 stay where they are. Meso goes up 2 positions. It looks like we've already got a bit of carnage down the back there. We've got a car riding over top of the other one. It's Salt for My Chips going over the top of Meso as they now sort of come to... Oh, here we go. Virtual safety car. Toppy already receives that 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. So it is yellow flags. Virtual safety car is on. Everybody hits that delta. So we'll look at the changes already. Meso up 2 positions. Salt down 1. JTM down 1. Ulfenhoop goes up 2. It's-Dito goes up 2, while Toppy up 3 positions. However, he does have that 10-second penalty now looming over him. Shifty Wizard goes up 1 position. It's the biggest loser of the bunch tonight is Dale Beveridge down 10 positions down to P18, and then Scoob AU down 4 positions. We are back to green flag racing. Let's bring it all back down, and we'll see how we can go from here. So Scoob, we're going to bring it up here just to see how the top battle is going. It is very wet. We've got a battle down the back there. Looks like a car is ghosted. That looks like Mushy Peas ghosting there. Kirsch now with a 6/10 lead on Yuki Bear. Yuki Bear now starting his run, but losing that little bit of time. Goes through the wall of champions. Makes it through very cleanly, but the RB does clout that wall there. The boards are out on the side. And hoping that we can... It is full wet gear too, by the way, guys. Meso into P4, while Salt for My Chips in P5. JTM looking to launch his attack on Salt for My Chips very shortly. We are starting to see some moves down the back here, though. Scoob AU all over the back of Shifty Wizard, while Kahoot is all over the back of Scoob. And there it is. Scoob just gets really shifty and absolutely clouts that wall, causing a virtual safety car by the looks of it. So Mason Racing behind him. Kahoot goes through to take that position. So we go back to Delta Racing. So Dale Betts looks like he has had to change his front wing all the way down the back of the pack there. He's got a long way to make up too. So he's going to be hoping for... Oh, we've got 3 drivers with the speeding under VSC. It's JTM, Salt, and Meso all speeding under VSC. Oh my God, I got the hiccups. Apologies for the hiccups there, guys. Oh. Back to green flag racing again. Piastri now gets a penalty, and there we go. We've got some drivers coming into the pits. So it's Meso coming in to serve what I believe is going to be his 10-second time penalty, which I think is a very smart option coming in like this. Oh no, it's drive-through, sorry. Now, has it served it? We had a driver in Tier 3 last night, pulled in, did his drive-through penalty, and it didn't count it. Looks like... yeah, it has. Excellent. So we'll head back up the front here. Kirsch now down into P3. Looks like he's had an absolute mare of a moment somewhere. And Yuki Bear now getting through to P1 and allowing Oscar Piastri to go into P2. So Kirsch now battling to get his way back into those positions. Either that or his team principal has said, yeah, let him pass and we'll just use them for a bit of grip later on. Because he's the one leading, so he's the one pushing all that water out before they get to it. So they've got that tiny little bit of an advantage there. Any major changes? Any major battles? No, this is probably the most appropriate battle at the moment. Oscar Piastri on Yuki Bear as Oscar Piastri, only 3 tenths behind, starts to mount that attack. Does he go down the inside at turn 1? It doesn't look like he's going to. He stays in behind, gets a little bit hairy there. Kahoot now with the fastest lap, 1:24.052 on those wet tyres. And this is where we're going to start to see a few drivers start to come into their own. Oscar Piastri now starting to lose a little bit of time there. Clouts that wall again. Kirsch looking to take advantage of these mistakes that Oscar Piastri is causing, but goes a little bit wide there. That's not going to be beneficial for him. Gets on that curb. It causes him to lose a little bit of traction as well. So loses a bit of time to Oscar ahead of him, but Oscar has also lost that time to Yuki Bear. Yuki Bear now gets that 3-second time penalty as he cuts that final turn into the chicane there. Now heading up to the hairpin here as we now head down the straight. 7 tenths behind, 6 tenths behind. 3.5 seconds is the gap from Dido to Kirsch, P3 to P4. Dido is going to want to try to do everything to pull these guys back in. He wants a safety car. Kahoot might want a safety car. For someone that doesn't like the track, it's something that I think he's very happy with at the moment. So, Shifty Wizard into P6. We've got a few drivers that have now pitted. Uffenhof and Mason Racing teammates fighting it out or helping each other. I believe they're going to be helping each other. Mason Racing, the TP, driving right behind his teammate. 1.3 seconds is the gap there. Dale Bevs now goes fastest with a 1:22. Back up into P15, so into the points range for Dale Bevs, who was originally down 10 positions off the start. We've got a caution into Sector 1. Can't quite see who that might be. Doesn't look like much. So TNT Legend also now starting to get onto the back of Mason Racing. However, he's going to lose that time as he locks up a little bit into the chicane. 8 tenths the gap to him and Mason pretty much the same gap from him to his teammate Uffenhof. But we are starting to see a bit of a move here. It's Kirsch now 2 tenths behind Oscar Piastri as we go through the wall of champions. Goes through very slowly, losing a lot of time there from 2 tenths down to 6. Big gap there. Utilizes his ERS though. Very nicely done. Definitely working through the pack. Currently in P10. Had a bit of an issue where he had to serve a drive-through penalty though. So that did knock him down a fair whack down to P10. Meso, who was in front of him, also had to serve that pen. But he has been taken by JTM. He's only 8 tenths behind him though. So JTM needs to put his foot down and get away. It looks like Meso's just not used to wet weather racing. Losing a lot of time there now, 1.5 seconds in one corner. And goes real deep there. So in one corner he went from 8 tenths to 1.5. Now even further, 1.7 is the gap between him and JTM. So TMT Legend also looking like he had a little bit of a mare for a second there. Get a little bit squirrely. We're back to a virtual safety car, and that is WRL Top out of the session. We'll jump on board with Unique and we'll see if we can see it. There's a tyre. Yeah, so it looks like he's just tapped the wall there on coming around. Maybe used a bit too much throttle, tapped the wall, and basically said see you later. So one Tier 3 driver in the Tier 2 spot for McLaren, hoping to bag as many points as he can. Currently sitting P17, so a bit of work to do there, but it's definitely going to be a tough one for him. We can see some drivers now entering the pits, going from the inters to the hards. Not too sure why they were on inters, but you know. So Meso losing out a lot of time going onto those inters. That'll be the reason why him and JTM switched positions. So Oscar Piastri down into P5, now taken by Kahoot, Dido and Kirsch, losing a massive amount of positions there. Not too sure if he got a bit squirrely somewhere or what happened, but it's definitely some work for Oscar to be able to put himself back up into P2. The gap between Kirsch and Yuki Bear ahead of him during this safety car process is now 9 tenths as we now look to back up the pack and get ready for a little bit of racing. Now guys, bit of advice for you. If you do spin out either under formation lap or a virtual safety car or a full safety car, don't drive into the gravel. Don't do it. Probably one of the silliest things you could do, Mr. Lance Stroll. You absolute moron. Genuinely, I have no idea what the guy was thinking. If somebody in chat could tell me what the guy was thinking, because I've tried to rationalize any sort of excuse as to why, and I can't figure it out. Blows my mind. Lucky Daddy Stroll is paying the bill. His brakes failed and just wanted to cool them off. Yeah, right. Well, he definitely cooled them off. I feel so sorry for his mechanics. They had, I think it was like 3 or 4 hours between quali and race to try and get his car back up and running from hitting the wall during quali. Managed to get it done. Drives out in the formation, bam, into a wall, and then straight into the gravel. He drives and gets bogged. Tyres, yep, no worries, man. There you go. Everybody on the hards. Everybody on the hards. Oh, sorry, on the wets, for the extreme wet tyres. No one on the inters. We did see someone, Meso, actually your driver, we did see Meso on the inters. He has since come in and changed his tyres to the wets. But yeah, I don't see it changing at the moment from, apologies, from wets to inters. It's still teaming down. Still got some drivers in the pits as well. We've got one driver, Magic Shot, going onto the intermediate tyres though. Surely not. So Kirsch, who did qualify in P1 with Yuki Bear qualifying in P3, I think. Yeah. No, P2, sorry. So he's gone from P2 to P1. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Right. Just hide the menu a second. Just focus on the vehicles themselves. We are now back to it. Yuki Bear now heads off down the road. Kirsch was not caught sleeping, was well aware of what Yuki Bear was going to do. Yuki Bear now only 2 tenths ahead, but Kahoot all over the back of Kirsch. Is Kirsch going to be able to pull it off anytime soon? Looks like Kahoot has a bit of a peek down the inside of Kirsch, doesn't get the job done. Just tucks back in very nicely behind there. It's too dangerous in the wet. Dito also losing also sticking to the back of Kahoot, while Oscar Piastri loses a bit of time, while Mason Racing loses a lot of time to Oscar Piastri. Mason Racing now 1.1 second, the gap between himself and Oscar ahead, but it is this gap just here we're looking at. Kahoot versus Kirsch versus, Dito, Kahoot, Kirsch and Yuki Bear all competing, and now add Oscar Piastri into the battle there, as he's now only 3.5 tenths behind it's Dito. And here we go, Kahoot goes down the inside, slots it in very nicely, but just can't pull it up in time, and Kirsch goes back through for the switchback. Very nicely done, but Kahoot not over yet. Tries to stick it down the inside. He's going to stick right by him and tucks back in behind before the Wall of Champions. We're not going to see a 3x3. No, we're not. Very nicely done. And Kahoot takes that one perfectly too. So JTM now up into P7, while being followed by Dale Bevs, who had an absolute mare at the start, starting in P8, starting in P7 maybe, dropping all the way down to P17. An absolute goated stop for him. But now, this is the battle we're all starting to watch. Kirsch losing a little bit of time to Yuki Bear. Kahoot in P3 currently. 3 tenths is the gap between him and Kirsch. And also him and Dito is 6 tenths. We don't want to see Dito taken by a snake. So Mason Racing now up in position as well. But Dale Bevs fighting back very nicely. Can he get the job done? Dale Bevs fights it. Fights himself with Shifty Wizard, sorry. And they get the job done. Very nicely done. And here we go. So Kirsch now taken by Kahoot. I've missed the overtake again. I'm very sorry, guys. It's very, just trying to focus on everything that's going on at once. Sometimes I miss a few things. But Kahoot now into P2 in the Ferrari. I have heard that he does not like this track, so this race for him currently is looking very, very nicely. Hoof now taking a penalty as well. We're going to have a quick squeeze at the stops. So the drivers ahead, the top 4 have not stopped. So Oscar Piastri could be looking in a bit of a... could be looking quite good here, because I don't think he's going to have to stop. He won't have to stop again. under these unless his tyres are being tuned depending on his setup. But JTM also not stopping. Dalbez stopping, obviously, because of the first lap incident that he had where he had to pit. But, you know, it's going to be interesting. Tyres, everybody on the wet tyres except for Magic Shot, Meso, and Unique Throne. Magic Shot, fastest lap is a 1:22 by Dalbez on the extreme wets. And Magic Shot setting 1:27s, 1:25s, and 1:25s for the other inters. So the intermediates, to me, have a lot of work to go. A lot of work to go, for that matter. Here we go. Yuki Bear now goes to the pits. Kahoot follows. Same with Kirsch and Dido. No, Dido stays out. No, he is in pits. Here we go. So this is where they've come out. P11 currently in for Yuki Bear, serving a bit of a penalty by the looks of it. Kirsch, is he able to jump him though? So JTM, our biggest winner of this lot so far, currently sitting in P1. 12 lap old wet tyres versus the driver behind him with 12 lap old. Then we've got a 6.9, 6.4, and then some intermediates. So it looks like these drivers here, Yuki Bear, Kahoot, Kirsch, Dido goes back out on the wet tyres, but Dale Bears, Oscar Piastri, and Unique Throne, as well as TMT Legend, all know something that we don't. They all know something that we do not. So Unique Throne gets a drive-through penalty, falling too far back behind under this safety car procedure. Not too sure what happened, I missed it. So safety car is in this. Like, far out, that's how long I missed it for. Jesus, Richard, pay attention. Yeah, I think so too, Fish. I think those inters are going to fall off very quickly. So we'll have a quick look at the penalties. Drive through for Hoof and Hoof, 3 seconds for Yuki Bear, 3 seconds for Oscar, and a drive through for Unique. So Mason Racing and JTM now underway. JTM gets a great start, almost a second ahead of the driver behind him, Mason Racing. Mason Racing under threat from Shifty Wizard and Scuba U for that matter, because Scuba U will make quick breakfast of Shifty Wizard and then he'll launch his attack on Mason Racing. But we've got 2 drivers yet to set a drive-through penalty, as well as 2 drivers with a 3-second time penalty. So the penalty rate here so far has been very good compared to what we saw in Tier 3 last night. Absolute shambles. So Kahoot now getting done, now taking Hoof and Hoof, but he is going to want to challenge Kirsch. Now up that position as well, taking Hoof and Hoof. But yeah, like I said, Kahoot is going to want to challenge Yuki Bear for that spot and take the right P1 to his position. So Kahoot now being taken by Yuki Bear, but I can see Kahoot firing away. The bullet is out of the chamber. He keeps Yuki Bear behind him and manages to during the Wall of Champions as well. So very, very nicely taken there. Mazzo now also Kahoot goes the fastest lap again. So the gap has now formed for JTM, 1.9, 2 seconds. 2 seconds now ahead of the driver behind him in the Haas, which is 2 seconds the gap, as well as 1.7 seconds from McLaren to Shifty Wizard. So soft line shifts is definitely going to need some work to do. There we go, starting to see some more changes down the back here. For Kirsch up into P8, Dalbez P9, Yuki Bear is P10, Magic Shot P11, and it's Tito to P12. Guys, let's keep it clean. This is going to be an amazing race so far as it stands. Only 3 drivers with a drive-through penalty. Unique Throne has served his. We are waiting for Unique to serve his too. Hello, War Machine, g'day to you. So here we go. We are starting to see the 2 RBs make a change for position. Oscar Piastri and Magic Shot. Magic Shot has let him go and said, alright, you take him because I can't hold on. Meso now dropping down to P7. Scoob, AU. Kirsch into P7, I should say. Dale Best P8. Yuki Bear in P9. And then it's Dito in P10. All these, and Oscar for that matter, all 4 of those championship rivals at the moment as well. However, we are just quickly, no, it's gone. So Kahoot now going back up in position. He's on an absolute charge, this man. This man right here in the red gear, the red jumpsuit, the red car. I think it was red helmet. Just absolutely putting on a bit of a masterclass. So gap to Kahoot for Scoob is 3.28 tenths. And it looks like the pack is really closing up. Dale Bevs, Mason Racing. Dale Bevs is only 2 tenths, 2.5 tenths, 3 tenths behind Mason Racing in the Alpine. Kirsch almost a second out of range of Dale Bevs to be able to gain anything from it. So he's got a lot of ground to make up. Kirsch was sitting P1, pitted for the Inters. I don't think it was the right call to make. I really don't. Tyres, yep. Wets and intermediates, I'm going to say. Booyah. So top 3 on the wet tyres. Kahoot in P4. We'll have a quick look at the fastest lap and see who's got the fastest lap. It is Kahoot on those Inters as well. So Inters could actually be the fastest tyre. I stand corrected. So Mason Racing now past Dale Bevs from P6 to P8, P7. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very tired of them. Not been sleeping properly. But Mason Racing, only 1/10 the difference between him and Yuki Bear. Kirsch also in on it with 2/10 the difference, trying to get past these guys, but he picks up a 3-second time penalty. So that is Oscar. So that is Yuki Bear, Oscar Piastri, and Meso, who are the 3 out of the 5 front runners, all with a time penalty. So the other 2, Kahoot and I can't remember who the other one was, but him and the other driver have no penalties going their way whatsoever as we speak. Shifty Whizzer doing nicely, but it's not just, yes. So I'll bring back that interval, bring back that tyre list. So Kahoot, an absolute stonker of a drive from him. 12 positions up. Whoops. Still 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds the gap between him and Shifty. However, it looks like that gap might start to be decreasing very shortly. Shifty Whizzer and its JTM still need to pit So they could pit onto those intermediates and come out into the mid-pack, but absolutely start blitzing through them. Just because they got that tyre advantage. We're going to caution, yellow flag in Sector 1. That is an Aston Martin in the pit lane. It's back out. Good to see. Dale Bevs in P6. Only 5/10 is the gap between him and that car ahead. So the gaps are now starting to spread out a little bit. As you can see, the 0 there. So lap 19 of 35 here. Tyres please, they will die the inters. Shifty Whizzer. Yeah, look, they're doing pretty well. I agree. I think the inters might fall off eventually. But Kahoot is in a very good position here. If he pits when Shifty Whizzer and JTM pit for a new set of intermediates, I think he could be okay. Dale Bevs now goes fastest with a 121.2, 1.6. Because he's clearly got the pace. This man right here in the Ferrari clearly has the pace to be able to put that foot down and just absolute roar down the track. 12 positions up, 5/10 the gap between him and Shifty Whizzer, which was 2.5 only a lap and a half ago, almost 2 laps ago. So now 3/10. He's got the time. He's got the pace. Is he going to get a job done? It could be a Ferrari 1-2 as we see it currently. But at the moment, it is going to be the P3 as he now doesn't go into the wall. There's a late move from Shifty Whizzer across. So Kahoot now going down, goes down the inside of Shifty Whizzer, and that is the job done for him. Kahoot and JTM, a double Ferrari podium as we see it right now. That's it. Oh, don't worry. Shifty Whizzer now gets past JTM. JTM pits, goes off of his wet tyres, and looks like he's going onto a set of intermediates. Yes, he is. Right along in race. When did we do that? Yep, I can do that. My apologies, I didn't know we did such a thing. That's news to me, and I will be getting rid of it very soon because I don't want that stuff. So you want to be on board with Shifty Whizzer. There we go. So we'll sit on board with Shifty as he now looks to chase down Kahoot in front of him. Sitting on those full wet tyres though, is he going to pit on after this main straight here, heading down towards pit lane now? Still sitting on those extreme wet tyres. Move over to your left, Shifty. You can get a bit of water into those tyres there, but is he going to do it? Is he going to pit? What's he going to do? He's staying out. I'll stay with him. I'll come back to him shortly, and we'll get another lap in there. So Kahoot 120.980. These intermediates are really firing up now. The gap now is huge between him and the cars behind. Dale Bevs in P2, up 6 positions, 3.9 seconds is the gap between him and the leader, which is Kahoot. So tyres, 9-lap hold tyres, intermediates for Shifty, for Dale, 9-lap hold for Kahoot. So equal tyre length from P1 to P4 or to P5 on those intermediates. Then we go down to Dito, who's just gone onto the wets for some reason. I'm not too sure why. But we are going to quickly run back down to Shifty Whizzer as he is now on a fresh set of inters. He is going to be absolutely rapid. You can bear picking up another 3-second penalty. Kirsch on these inters, not quite finding the pace that I thought he'd be able to find. Dale Bev's fastest lap with that 120.8 on those inters, 9 laps old. 3 seconds for Meso as well, another 3 seconds. Shifty Wizard taking the Wall of Champions perfectly well there. Now starting to catch a pack here ahead of him, but that is the lap for Shifty Wizard, so I've done the ride along. We can piss that off, and we can come back to watching the rest of the leaderboard. So, Kahoot still holding that lead over Dale Bez, but Dale Bez managing to pull it back just that little bit more. 3.2 seconds is the gap, while this man right here managing everything perfectly. Yuki Bear with some penalties. We'll have a quick look at what penalties are as well. Oh God, I'm getting everything. So penalties, 9 seconds of time penalties for Yuki Bear. That's huge. While 6 seconds for Oscar Piastri. Meso gets 6 seconds. 3 seconds for Unique. Currently sitting in P14. And then Oof and Hoof also with 3 seconds of time penalties. Oh no, Kahoot gets that 3 second. So he is outside of that 3 second gap now to these guys behind him, but he's just got to try and stay there. So Yuki Bear, he's got a lot of work to do to try and keep a 9 second gap to the drivers behind. Oscar Piastri, he's got his time penalty as well. He's got a little bit of work to do to try and... No, not much actually. Dito 5 seconds behind him. Kirsch now looking to try everything he can. Meso 5/10. We now start to see a bit of an overtake here. It's JTM trying to go down the inside of Meso. Doesn't get the job done. Tucks it back inside. Very nice racing there from this major pack going on here. But it is, we're going to see a little bit of argy-bargy as JTM now goes around the outside of Meso. Gets the job done. Takes 2 positions in 1. Beautifully done by JTM. Oh, Kirsch has got another screen freeze. Oh, man. I really feel for this guy. It's such a shitty thing to do, to happen. 10-second penalty for Scuba U for crossing the white line. That's a huge pen. But JTM now back up into P7, while Kahoot managing to pull a bit of a gap between himself and Dale Bevs. Just a little bit of a buffer there to try and clear out that 3 seconds. Dito now with a 3 second time penalty as well, adding to his list of time penalties. But Meso 4/10 behind JTM, trying everything that he can do to get back up there. It's not looking good for him, Brev, because it looks like Shifty Wizard, the man on the fresh intermediates, is right up his backside. And is he going to be able to mount an attack very soon? We're going to jump on board with Shifty Wizard. He's got the better tyres. He's the one that is now going to be firing up and coming after Meso, and then soon after he's going to be coming after JTM. He's got the pace. Surely he can get something done very soon. Within this lap, maybe. Within the next lap, I would say so. But he's just got to try and keep it all together because Meso is driving a very, very good race. Considering he's got penalties, he's driving a very clean race, keeping it together very nicely, throwing it into corners. So Shifty Wizard now 5/10 behind Meso. Meso's lost out. Oh, don't worry, there's no DRS. Meso is outside of that 1 second gap between JTM. But here we go, Shifty Wizard. Is he going to be able to get anything done here? 65% ERS versus 40% ERS for Meso. Shifty Wizard closing in very nicely. Is he going to go around the outside? Down the inside, I should say. He does. Locks it up very nicely. And there's contact, mate. Meso makes a little bit of contact in the rear of Shifty Wizard. There's nothing in that. Shifty Wizard was well ahead. Makes the corner very nicely. And there's more contact between Salt for My Chips and Meso. Salt for My Chips now getting a bit of contact there, on a little bit of argy-bargy on the Meso himself. Meso now trying to gain that position back, just tucking it in behind very nicely. We've seen some great racing tonight. Salt for My Chips gains another 3 second time penalty. Magic Shot Goes around. There's a contact, it looks like, between himself and TMT Legend. Magic shot into the wall. No damage to his front wing, but TMT Legend, I'm not sure who was the cause of that, but I caught it right at the last second. Meso running max wings. Race of the penalties, I tell ya. No, mate, you didn't watch last night. Tier 3 was the race of the penalties. Only 2 drivers out of 19 didn't have penalties at the end. Good move, Shifty. Upper, yeah, it was. Salt for my chips. Yeah, righto. Did he put too much salt in there? Huh? Oh. Okay, so we'll move back up here and we'll have a quick look at the way everything is going at the moment. Kahoot now with a 4.5 second gap is making very nice use of the pace that he's got. Very clear for his time penalty that he's got currently. Dale Bev's no time pen, but still in net P2. Got the pace, but he's just losing it to Kahoot a little bit there. Yuki Bear with 5 seconds under attack from Oscar Piastri. Might jump on board with this guy right here as we try to see if he makes a move very soon. 46% ERS versus Yuki Bear's 90% ERS. And that's it for JTM. He's just got a penalty. JTM has just got a penalty as well. We're going to bring up the pens, actually. Let's see what they are. So 3 seconds for Kahoot, 9 for Yuki Bear, Piastri 9. Kirsch is going to gain some positions there just because of that time pen ahead of him. Dito with 3 seconds, JTM 3 seconds, unfortunate for him. Shifty Wizard inside, here we go. Yuki Bear and Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri goes through on the wall of champions. This very beautiful overtake down the inside there. And Yuki Bear just loses out. 6 seconds to Meso, but we're going to try and see a comeback. Is he going to be out? Is it going to be able to mount anything from it? I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. We're going to remove those pens now because I'm missing the racing here. I actually can't believe Kirsch has been nerfed by his PC the last 4 rounds. Yeah, it's shit. It's so shit. I feel for the guy. You just want to race, and you feel like everything is going well, and all of a sudden your screen freezes, you just don't know what to do. I mean, the only thing I can think of, but I mean, obviously it takes money, probably upgrading some of his hardware, but that's it. That's really it. How's my day been, Dark? Look, my day has been very good, thank you, War Machine. Yeah, look, it's been pretty good. So, 4.5 seconds is still the gap to P1. Yuki Bear battling it out with Oscar Piastri still, heading down this back straight, back into the wall of champions, and just cannot get the change done. This is just a little bit too far back. Kirsch slowly closing in on these guys though. Dito, yeah. So, salt for my chips. 5/10 behind Shifty Wizard. I don't think he's going to be able to get anything done. We might bring up some tyres and have a look at who's on the better tyres. Salt for my chips on 8-lap-old tyre, intermediates versus Shifty on 7-lap-old. But, and I say this now, Salt for my chips is quite quickly coming back. Losing a little bit of time there. And Kahoot, you've done it, mate. You've just gotten yourself another 3-second time penalty, and that has given Dale Bev's net P1. Oh, Kahoot, you hate to see it. So this is the most interesting battle here at the moment. Yuki Bear has fallen off of Oscar Piastri, 1.2 seconds. And here it is, Salt for my chips, going down the inside against Shifty Wizard. Who's going to get the better out? And there it is. Salt for my chips says, thank you very much. I'm going to hold my line, and holds it very nicely. Clean racing between himself and Shifty Wizard. Shifty, also great racing, managing to hold it on track after being forced just that little bit wide there. Hello, Henchy. Good to hear you, and how's the weather going and your health going? Look, weather, it's shocking at the moment up in Queensland. We've got storms, we've got everything going on. And Kirsch is out of the race. He has retired in pit lane. Oh no. Yeah. Was that pit lane or Wall of Champions? I'm seeing debris on the track somewhere. There. Left 4 Dead, was that Wall of Champions, man? Or was that in pit lane? Pit lane, thank you. So Magic Shot now moving up that free position. But this right here is heartbreaking. P1 in Canada with a 4.5 second gap, had a 3 second penalty to his name, managed to hold that gap real firm between himself and Dale Bears, and then goes and picks up a second time penalty, knocking him down to net P2. We've got a major gap here though between 2 and 3. So Oscar Piastri, 7 seconds, but with time penalties looming over his head, I think 9 seconds. And FTR Yuki Bear also with 9 seconds. So these two here will not change positions as we see it, because the gap between him and Yuki Bear and Dito is 11 seconds. So Yuki Bear just needs to hold on to his warnings and keep it at 9 seconds. So I might jump back down on board with Shifty Wizard here. Jump on board with him as he is still fighting for that position with Salt for My Chips. Salt for My Chips just holding out his own. 84% ERS for Shifty, 44% for Salt. Meso also trying his hardest to start to try and join this fight, but JTM now on the back of Dito. 6/10 is the gap between him and Dito. The same gap between Shifty and Salt for My Chips. So this is going to get quite interesting very soon. A little bit spicy if JTM can get something done. And he's only got a 3 second time penalty as well. Once he's past Dito, his foot can go down and he can start to close in on Yuki Bear and Oscar Piastri. But I don't think it's going to happen. 32 of 35. It is lap 32 of 35. Kahoot is going to be trying everything that he can to try and get a 6 second gap, but nothing is working for him. He's just steadily staying around that 4.2 to 4.5 second gap there, but it's just not working for him. JTM goes through on It's Dito. He now wants to make up 2 seconds on Yuki Bear to try and take on... Actually, no, he won't, because he's got a penalty. I'm going to stop talking now. So, beautiful overtake there by JTM. So TMT Legend now also 6/10 off the back of Mason. Dito, no, Salt for My Chips and Shifty Wizard. Shifty Wizard has fallen off the back of Salt. 1.2 seconds is the gap there. Henchman, half a bottle of Brew Black Sambuca. What? I'm so drunk tonight. Okay, why? Oh yeah, because happy birthday, Henchman, by the way. Happy birthday, Henchman. Everybody, happy birthday in chat. Any drinks have you had? Half a bottle of Brew Black Sambuca. Homebrew Sambuca. Yes, up the JTM. Let's go, Kahoot. Come on, lad. Yeah, look, Kahoot's got a bit of work to do. He's got 6 seconds of time penalty, so he will take out net P2 as we see it. The TMT Legend, we're starting to see Shifty Wizard coming back into the gap. Is he going down the outside? No. He's just going to try and get onto the wet, try and keep his tyres a bit cool. So this is the battle to watch at the moment. Lap 33 of 35. Meso with another 3 second time penalty. We'll bring up those pens once again and see where everybody is at. 6 seconds for Kahoot. Dale Bev still penalty free. 9 seconds for Oscar. 9 seconds for Yuki Bear. JTM 3 seconds. It's Dito 3 seconds. Salt for My Chips gets 3 seconds. So Shifty Wizard, all he has to do is stay within this 3 second range of Salt for My Chips, and he will take home some good points here tonight. Some decent points, I should say. Meso with 9 seconds of time penalties. Then we've got 3 drivers, Mason, TNT Legend, and Magic, all penalty free. Unique in P13 taking home some points. And here we go. Salt for My shit. Oh my God. Shifty Wizard now gets the job done. I didn't say what you guys think I said.
Just for that comment war, I might mute you on Twitch. What do you say? Happy birthday, old man.
Oh, silly. Yeah, look, salt for my chips. Chips, guys, chips. Yep, salt for my what? It's his fault. You know, having a name like that when we're talking quite quick, you can't do that. So salt for my chips. Right on the back of Shifty Wizard. The closest battle that we've got going on here tonight on lap 34 of 35. Kahoot is unable so far to make that 2-second gap. He just needs 2 more, 1.5 more even, on Dale Bevs to take out the victory tonight. Is Bevs going to be able to do him a favour? Bevs, come on, man. Let it happen. So the battle between these two has just been ongoing all night. Salt for my chips. I wouldn't be trying too much harder. It's lap 34 or 35. You've got a 3-second pen. Driver behind you has 9 seconds. I think you're okay. And there it is. Kahoot now goes with the fastest lap, 120.576. He's putting his foot down. He's going to try and get it done on the last lap. Dale Bez, 4.8 seconds is the gap between him and Kahoot. Kahoot now flying down the outside. 29% ERS, 30% ERS. Dale Bez has 56, 64, 67, 68. I don't think it's going to happen for Kahoot. Really unfortunate. Magic Shot and Unique swap positions there. Magic Shot goes up into P12, while Unique Throne drops down to P13. So some good points for the McLaren drivers here tonight. Salt for my chips and Unique Throne, both reserve drivers in for tonight, taking home some valiant points. Williams losing out on some major points in terms of constructors and overall constructors as well, with 2 drivers out and not a single driver that can reserve for them. But we're going to watch this man right here as he now heads down to the wall of champions, getting ready to cross the line on track in P1. As he now crosses that line, it's the checkered flag for Kahoot, who takes the on-track victory, but Dale Bevs is going to get him because of penalties, and that right there is your Canadian GP race winner, Dale Beveridge. Absolute stellar effort by Dale, and an absolutely amazing effort by Kahoot as well. Oscar Piastri takes P3, while Yuki Bear takes P4. JTM in P5. It's Dito in P6. No, P7 he'll drop down to. No. Yes. So he will drop down. So the Haas goes 6 and 7. Salt for my chips in P9 as he is spinning across the track there. Meso in P9 across track. However, he's going to lose 2 positions here. So he goes down to P10, drops down another position to P11, while Mason Racing and TMT Legend go 9 and 10. Meso moves into P11. Magic Shot goes P12. Unique Throne in P13, and Uffenhoof and Mushy Peas rounding out P14 and 15. And that is all of your points here in Canada. Dale Bevs, Kahoot, and Oscar, if you guys want to join the Tier 2 chat, that'll be lovely. The voice chat, the podium voice chat in Discord, that would be absolutely amazing, and then we can start these things, get these things underway. I'm just going to say meow F1. Thank you so much for the follow. We really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a great race from them. All right. Can somebody tag the 3 podium places? Kahoot, Dale Bevs, and the other one, Oscar, into and tell him to get into VC. So here we go. Kahoot with the fastest lap as well, taking out the extra points. And your 3 DNF drivers. It is Toppy out in the first lap. Scoob out in lap something or other, and Kirsch also DNFing. Unfortunate for Kirsch. I feel really bad for him. We'll have a quick look at some pit stops as we are here. So 2 pit stops here, wet to wet, wet to wet. Yep, intermediates to wet, and wet to inters for a lot of the drivers there. Bear with me, guys, while I just go and see what is going on with these lads here. I'm going to talk to you. Alright, so we've got Dale, we've got Kahoot. Just waiting on Oscar if he joins.
I believe Oscar doesn't have a mic. I could be wrong.
No, that's right.
What is your
That's
mic
what I
sound like
heard.
you're in the toilet now?
Who Bevs?
Yeah. You just turned into like...
Yeah, mate.
I mean, yes, you
Just changing things up for you.
got to take your post-race dump. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Tagged the wrong Oscar. That's banana split.
Does it actually sound like Pulaki code?
It sounds like...
Mickey Mouse?
You know when like Brendan joins and you're like, oh, that's his crap mic. And then he has to swap it.
Yeah,
Basically
yeah.
that.
Yeah, copy.
Alright.
Arguably, this is my better mic as well.
Here we go. What's his name?
Man, maybe it's a different Discord, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
That's him. Anyways, we'll get underway. Kahoot, we'll start with you, man. What an absolute dominant race. For someone that doesn't like Canada, and that is self-proclaimed arse at Canada, you're quite dominant all night, holding out a 4.5 second gap to Dale Bevs. You had that 3-second penalty looming over your head the whole time, and then just picked up that second one very close to the end. Look, talk us through it. Bit of Devo, I'm guessing.
No, I'm actually more relieved that race is done, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, tires were dying. I kind of started sliding through corners the last 3 or 4 laps. Mistakes happen. Literally said like 5 minutes before to Bez, I was like, I wouldn't have worried about penalties if it was any other track.
Yeah.
Look, I'm glad it was wet because that was the only reason I was competitive. People always say pad traction, but I don't know what it is. It probably is a bit of that, but I also just genuinely love driving in the wet. As you can see, I was absolutely nowhere in the dry due to quali. Good race. Had some good battles with a few people. Really unfortunate for Kershie McWershie.
I feel
And
for
that's
the guy,
really
man.
unfortunate. Yeah, that's super unfortunate. And being genuine, I know that there's always been the little bit of tension between anyone who's helping Dale and Mercedes. But trust me when I say we were considering getting Dale to back off so I could win. So,
Yeah.
but no, genuinely feel for him. But
I
good
called
racing
for it
by
as well.
everyone. Apparently everyone did.
I called for Bevs to back off in chat, but it didn't happen. Bevs, what are you doing?
Nah, look, end of the day, P2 in a fastest lap and a cheeky dry of the day. You take them for sure.
Absolutely.
Don't get too many of them around here, so
No.
I'll take it.
No. Well, look, man, congratulations. It was an absolute dominant drive from you tonight, anyway. But
It's
look, we'll move on over to Dale. Bevs, mate, great drive, sitting in P2. as well, taking on that first lap damage as well, taking on a pit stop, hanging from right down the back of the grid all the way up to P1 from lap 1. It was just watching you come through the pack as well it was stellar watching it. So look, talk us through it.
Yeah, so pretty much went for a move I probably shouldn't have against Meso. So yeah, I'm glad he didn't end up with any damage or any sort of spin from that, because yeah, I deserve to end up on the sort of worst side of that. So being able to catch back up and drive through the pack was actually a lot of fun. The rain made it, I would argue, even more enjoyable, even though the race went probably 15 minutes longer than what we probably would have liked it to. But yeah, everything kind of went the right way. But yeah, can't really say too much. It was lucky that Kahoot got some penalties because he was super quick in the wet.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wasn't going to be able to catch him, so that kind of needed to happen.
I think as well, like, because I also raced Tier 4 in the wet race as well, and you're right. It does go for a lot longer, but it does make it more enjoyable. Canada is one of those tracks that it's either penalties or nothing, and it can just take everything away from something. So I think you're right. That wet weather has definitely added that enjoyable factor into the race. But coming through the back of the pack the whole way through to P1, were there any standout battles that you had with anyone that stood out to you personally, or like throughout it?
Yeah, there was a lot of when I was battling pretty hard to get through, but Mason Racing was good coming into the final chicane. Shifty Whizzer. Actually, realistically, a lot of the boys that I was racing against throughout that whole race, all the battles were pretty fun. The overtakes were a lot different. Rather than sending out the inside, it was a lot of switchbacks, and yeah, even Kirsch when before his disconnect or whatever happened there, which is very unfortunate. Definitely deserved to finish it without any of those penalties that he had or the pace that he had. So when I was battling him, that was even a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, cool. All right, so I believe that now puts you up into P1 in the championship standings, ahead of Kirsch. So, is that something that you now take into is that something you factor in for the remaining races, like how you drive, who you choose to battle with, and so on and so forth?
No, probably keep going the same sort of way. I mean, I drove pretty poorly in Saudi, even though I knew I was kind of closing the gap and had a pretty poor result there last week. So to make up for it this week, it was much needed, I think.
Absolutely. And guys, I'll ask both of you this: Zandvoort next week. How do you think you're going to go?
I've had a lot of bad races there. I prefer not to be there.
I'll just if it's wet. I'll have a good chance of that one too.
Yeah, let's have some wet weather again, I think.
Just turn on wet weather from now on.
Turn on the sprinklers.
Zandvoort's a pretty good track for me, so let's hope
right.
I'm not too far back.
All right.
And give Dale a run for his money.
Yeah, you've heard it here, guys. Cahoot's good at Zandvoort, and he's going to beat Dale. That's what we all heard, right?
You're gonna try.
No, that's exactly what I heard.
Yeah,
you're a bloody women thinking.
That's it. All right, well, guys, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining the podium interviews. I really appreciate it. Congratulations to both of you, our P1 drivers and our P2 driver, Kahoot and Dale Beveridge. Guys, that's it from me. I'm your commentator for tonight. Until Matty is back next week, finally the bum, over in Melbourne, so not able to do his normal commentary duties when he's ever around. But we are going to be back next week, and we are back tomorrow, I should say, 8:30 p.m. AEDT with Frizy as your commentator for the Tier 1 race around Canada. So, guys, that is it from us.